In this video, I'm looking at what's new in UVLayout for the version 2025.02. There's quite a few changes, so I'm going to split it up into a series of videos. In this one, I'm looking at just the basic wireframe display with new options for that, and just a quick look at the speed improvements. So here I've loaded a fairly dense mesh. So I think this one's about, let's have a look. So yeah, 120,000 polygons. So by default, the wireframe is displayed. Let's bring this up. So the settings for wireframe are under display more. So here you can see the wireframe settings here. So show wireframe, I can turn the wireframe off if I want, or turn it back on. So by default, it's on the best setting. So what that does is it looks at the length of each triangle. So here, if I zoom in, the length of the triangles are quite large, so it shows them fully. If I zoom out, then you can see it starts to fade out. Particularly if I zoom right out, all the wireframe lines disappear because it's calculated that they're shorter than a certain number of pixels, and so it begins to fade them out. That's so you can clearly see the color tinting here, which is important in UVLayout for seeing where distortions are. Without that, so let's just see what it looks like if I turn that off. So if I turn fade off, then it becomes much harder to see the color tinting, and even worse because now there's a default setting for alpha, which is sort of the blending of the wireframe. If you set that to 100%, so no blending, and you zoom right out, it's all just black wireframes, which makes it impossible to see the color tinting. So even on the simplest setting with fade off, you can adjust the alpha here to begin to see a bit of the color tinting while still seeing the wireframe lines there. So that's 40%. I'll set it back up to. So that's the most basic wireframe setting, would be to have the fade off, but at least adjust the alpha so you can see the color tinting. But I'll go back to the best mode here. So I'll explain the best mode. It's looking at each individual triangle and adjusting the wireframe fading for each individual triangle. So you can see that's why it looks a little bit patchy. It's probably a bit hard to see in the video, but maybe you can. Here, these triangles here are clearly seen because they're quite large. Where particularly on the horizon, it fades the triangles out because the length of the sides begin to diminish over those horizon lines. So that's the best mode, but you can see it can be quite slow, especially on a dense mesh like this. And so you can see as I rotate, it doesn't update until you finish the view. So you can end up with situations like this where no wireframes are showing until you let go of the mouse button indicating you stopped rotating. So it has that sort of delay effect on updating the wireframes because it has to calculate for every single triangle. It's quite a slow process. You wouldn't want to do that for every frame. If you did want to do it for every frame, then that's what this live update setting is. So at the moment it's set for 25,000. So that means if there's under 25,000 polygons visible, then it will update that wireframe calculation as you're zooming in and out and rotating. So at the moment, because we've got 125,000 polygons or triangles visible, it's not doing that. So I could increase this live update setting to 155. So now you can see as I zoom in and out, those triangles fade in and out as I'm changing the view. But you should be able to see from the video now it doesn't appear as smooth. It's a little bit jerky, the update. That's because for every frame it's having to do that calculation. So on a denser mesh like this, it slows things down. So let's set that back to default. So there is a third option here then. If you sort of want things to fade out but you don't want this time delay effect on denser meshes, you can go to fast mode. So I'll select that here. So what fast mode does is it just calculates the fading factor for the whole mesh, not every individual triangle. So it takes a sample of triangles or polygons and works out the fade based on that sample. So this can be done on every frame. So you can see here as I zoom in and out, as I zoom in the wires are clearly visible. As I zoom out they fade. There's not that time delay effect. It updates as you go, and it's really smooth. So it's not as laggy as the best mode. The drawback of course is that it's a global setting, so you'll see these triangles on the horizon are coloured in, whereas in the best mode those triangles on the horizon are faded out. So it's just a display quality thing. You might decide which one you prefer, or whether you just want it fast all the time and don't mind things on the horizon not looking their best. So the fast mode is like a balance between the two. Okay, so that's the wireframe settings there. That's what's new. And then just in general, things are faster. So let's, you can see here for this 100,000 polygon mesh, the sort of up frame rate's quite smooth. I can go to display again, turn on the show frames per second. So you can see here as I'm zooming in and out, I'm getting about 50 odd frames a second. Probably because I'm recording, it's a little bit slowed down, probably 60 without the recording. So that's the new default setting, is the new speed mode. And then versus what it used to be. So I can disable the display speed boost here under GUI preferences. I don't know why you would, but just as a comparison, it shows you what it used to be. So it used to be on this mesh about 8 frames a second, so quite jerky, quite laggy. So that's been fixed in this 2025.02 release. Okay, so that's it for this video. Just a quick overview of the speed improvement on the drawing and just some tweaks to the wireframe drawing to again increase speed and visibility of the colouring.